If there is any question. Yoga is about being, it's not about doing. So if doing is an expression of being, every door is open. But if being become the goal of doing, then it becomes imagination, because we are before we do. So the way we approach the art is by accenting being, and from being, expression as doing appears in the way we practice. But so there's no room for intention, there's no room for direction, it's purely, it's a listening. Because listening sometimes expresses itself as a movement, but it's pure listening doesn't exclude anything. Movement could be an expression of listening, and movement could be a lack of listening, according to how you approach it.
Can you say something about finding relief from a thinking-based existence or a thinking-based life?
And thinking is a tool for the brain. What some people look for relief is too much thinking, but thinking has a role to play as anything else. Too much thinking from the idea that I'm a doer and I must undertake that and that activity to be at peace. But when you realize, when you fulfill that peace is actually at the back of any activity, that activity may be an expression of peace, but certainly not a way toward peace, naturally the thinking will reduce. Thinking comes from the fantasy, I'm a thinker. But at some point you realize that there's no thinker, because thinking is purely mechanic. You see this politician on TV, you think that. You see another politician, you think that. Take some drug, you think that. You have been raped, when you were young, you think that. You have been, somebody tell you, I love you, you think that. Somebody tell you, I leave you, you think that. We don't think, we are thought. Thinking is purely passive. Take some drug, you want to think that, and you eat too much sugar, you're going to think like that, and you drink too much whiskey, and you're going to think like that. Thinking is purely mechanical. So it is a lack of clarity that will make somebody try to, like some people said, oh, I think that. But I think that is meaningless. We don't think that. We have accumulated an element, you read this, you read that, then you think that, but you don't think that. Just the result of book accumulation, information. We don't think, we are thought. So when you realize deeply that thinking is only memory, then that what you're looking for is something unknown. To use the thinking to reach what you're looking for doesn't take place anymore. So what you're looking for cannot be sought. So the dynamism, the stimulation of thinking reduced immensely by simply seeing the perspective. That I can only think the past. I cannot think something new. What you call new is the cycle of the past. And when you're looking for something unknown, so thinking has to be abandoned, not for driving a car, not for investing money, not for making war, but to find what you are. Thinking has no role to play, but to show its own limitation. When thinking sees limitation, in certain ways, thinking becomes functional. You thinking when you need some time to think. But you don't think like people who try to have a deep thinking and they think of meditation, they think of God, they think of non-duality. They don't think they are taught by books they have read, by information they have, and this is childish. So at some point you don't think what they think now. You don't think, you don't think say you think. You can think very little thing. But seriousness has nothing to do with thinking. Seriousness is listening. And there's no thinking in this. So you keep your thinking to functional things. But when you approach life, you give up thinking because you know that you're going to cover life with your own fantasy. You have been raised as a Buddhist, you have been raised as a Muslim, you have been raised as a Hindu, you have been raised as a fascist, you have been raised as a scientific, you have been raised as French, as British, you have been raised as Jew, you have been raised as being rich, being poor, and you think from that. So your thinking is polluted from the very moment you think. So thinking, say you think, is a lack of seriousness. When somebody is serious, he doesn't think about something serious. He thinks about functional things. But he serious, it's surrendering. Then seriousness comes from surrendering, from listening, not from thinking. And of course, if you realize that thinking comes from feeling, because we can only think with image, with language, and the language is based on feeling on the five senses. We cannot think without the five senses. Then you realize that more you're going to extend the feeling, the need to think will reduce to, because life is feeling, not thinking. So if somebody touches your hand, the fantasy to think something about it, I like, I don't like it, is replaced by feeling. So when you live in feeling, any part of your body touch, the whole part is touch. Like you do boxing, any part you get hit, the whole part get hit. You absorb like that. When you feel the sound of a car, the whole body is caressed by the sound of a car, not just the hearing. The more you live in a global feeling, less the need of to conceptualize your feeling come to you. At the point you don't know if you like or if you don't like. Somebody asks you, do you like that? It may be difficult to answer because it means nothing for you. It's like if you strangle your girlfriend and slowly, and you want her to tell you when it is pleasure, when it is pain. At the point you don't know. Life is not knowing. Pleasure and pain actually extremely close. So more you live in feeling, more you, the bourgeois category of like, dislike, pain, and pleasure, and yes and no, and go away. And what remains is the wholeness. So the perspective, you see what you think is irrelevant because you think of your past. You think because of your parents, you think because of your experience, you think because the channel TV you watch, and you think because the last book you read. You don't think, you thought. And abiding in feeling will make that thinking, will come back to its natural place, to its functional place. Like when you need to walk, you use your leg. When you're sitting, you don't use your legs. Then you need to think, you use your thinking process. But when you look at beauty, when you smell a child, when you hear a noise, you don't think, you feel. And if somebody asks you, do you like this or not? At some point it becomes hard to answer because what you feel cannot be explained by word anyway. So thinking is a very limited tool. It has this practical element, but it's not deep thinking. Thinking is superficial. I must see that. Thinking is generally a lack of listening. People who think constantly, they don't feel. That's why it's important in life. You should run to accent art and beauty and dancing and music and poetry and sport so the child is built by feeling and sometimes little thinking. But thinker live in their own head and It has no home in a traditional approach.
So Aaron, how do you go about making a complicated decision that requires, I mean, if you just sit facing it and not, you do have to sort of attend to various aspects of a complicated decision. And you want to do the right thing. That would be also.
You want to do the right thing. You take a coin, you decide, you look at the coin. If you follow what the coin said is the right thing, if you do the opposite, it's the right thing too. Because there's no choice in life. What happened will happen. What should not happen will not happen, whatever you do. So stop thinking you're making decisions, you don't. A good astrologer will tell you what you're going to do. Stop thinking, oh, what is best. You can make nothing. What is best for you? For me, but it's not me. What is best is totally irrelevant. You act, but don't. It's not important what you do. You cannot make mistake because there's nothing right and nothing wrong. It's only interpretation. So if you stop, if you realize there's nothing right or no wrong, so life doesn't abide in this limited bourgeois fantasy, you just act and you don't care what you do. You miss nothing, you lose nothing, you win nothing. If you lose all your money, if you make more money, it is the same thing. You get hurt, it is the same thing. It is a fantasy. You must go away from the fantasy. What is the right thing? Because it is endless. It's beautiful, it's very honorable to do the right thing, but it has no meaning. Right thing for you, right thing for the other, but there's no other. So you can spend years in thinking what is the best for him, what is the best for me. As there is no me, no him. Several life, many reincarnations, no solution. The coin, immediately solution.
But there appears to be a me and the other.
Sorry?
There appears to be a me and another. So I know there isn't, essentially, but in the sort of film of my life, there's definitely another.
Yes, but then there's no solution because relations do not exist. There's no relation. If you want to have the right decision in relation to something, it's only thinking. It's depending on your intelligence. Somebody more intelligent will make a better decision. Somebody less intelligent to make a less intelligent decision. But it doesn't come from you. The coin is the best. Coin is the ultimate higher spiritual action. Because it goes beyond right and wrong. And so you look at the coin.
But shouldn't you at least contemplate the situation, let's say, with your intelligence and your love, and then throw the coin?
No, because you don't contemplate the situation, sweetie. You contemplate your fantasy of the situation.
Well, yeah, but that's also not a bad thing, because then if you contemplate.
Nobody tells you it's a bad thing. You can spend your life contemplating your fantasy.
To get clear what the practice is, and then.
But you get clear, but you cannot get clear by thinking, sweetie. Action comes from fact, never from thinking. If you think you can act, you go out in the street, somebody you send you thought you want to think what to do. No, you have no time. Action before thinking. Life is too hard, is too strong for thinking. Thinking is for people who cannot act. Life is acting. No thinking. Look at the poor Arjuna on the Kurukshetra. He's thinking, he's trembling, he's bold. I don't want to fight. He don't want to fight his brother. He don't want to fight his master of arms. He don't want to fight his family. He don't want to kill. He don't want. Shut up. But Krishna tell him, shut up. Fight, we don't care. You kill, you get killed. Shut up, act. Don't sit, don't feel. You're there to act, the group should try life. We all are Arjuna. But if you think, you tremble. You act, you have nothing to win, nothing to lose. So don't ever look for the right action, because it's a fantasy. What is right for you is wrong for somebody else. It makes no sense. Like when there is a tempest and people are if a tempest don't destroy your house, it is right. If it destroys neighbors, no, tempest is neutral. It's called nature, it's life. There's no good, bad in tempest. When there is a drought, when there is tsunami, is not good, no bad, it is what it is. For some people, of course, they see it as better, good, or as bad, yes. But it is the point of view. The tempest is in IT, and you said, oh, it's natural. Tempest in London, that's where you have, you said, oh, it's terrible. So in IT, it's the same thing. When it is over there, it is natural. When it's here, it is terrible. No, we're all the same. So we call it terrible, we call it natural. Actually, we cannot understand what is there because we don't know what is better. What is better comes from the fantasy. It's better to be alive than to be dead. Better to know I should die longer, but do you know when is the right time to die for you? You know what is best? 60, 70, 80, 90, 95. You have a revelation, God told you, oh, you must reach that age. But if you don't know what time you must die, if you don't know that dying is worse than living, if you don't know what you shut up. You live and you die. But you don't need, I don't need the fantasy of knowledge to see what is good for me. If I go out in the street, if a car bang me, is it bad? Maybe it is bad. What do I know? Maybe from that I will become more serious in life. Maybe not. But what can I know? I can only have a fantasy of knowing.
But can I interrupt?
Of course.
I didn't mean the right decision. I meant the decision. Like, I mean, I am very aware that I would not be making the right decision, but nevertheless, I would like to participate
Yes.
in my life. Well, I don't sit around throwing coin.
It is already made, sweetie. It is already made. But you must face it. It is already made. Decision has been actualized, but you don't want to see it yet. Let it come to you. There's no mistake, there's no hazard in life. If you feel it doesn't come, it means it's not the right time for you. And with the right time, it will happen. Not it will be good, no bad, it will be what it is. It has to be ripe in a way. When you want to make a decision, that means it's too early. Listen more, and it will come to you. Somebody struggle you, you say, what shall I do? You don't feel enough. Feel. You're going to feel the whole structure of the person strangling you. On this feeling, you will know what to do according to your own ability. But it comes from the fact. Action comes from the fact, not from thinking. But coin is could not see anything more deeper than throwing a coin and doing either what the coin said or the opposite. With the same lightness. All the rest for me is fantasy. The right decision and the wrong decision is a fantasy. And actually, decision is a fantasy too, because you don't decide it. It is what happened could not happen. You have never decided anything. You never decide to love somebody or to separate with somebody or to live there or to live there. It just happened.
You mentioned reincarnation.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's a very sweet fantasy. I don't know, it's part of the Buddhist and Hindu tradition. I respect very much. I have no information about it. I'm not Hindu, I'm not Buddhist, I'm nothing. I have no. It's part of the classical Indian point of view. I respect it. It cannot be proved nor disproved on a factual level. And honestly, you know, when you look at somebody, you see all the problem people carry with them for the last 10 years, the last 20 years, the last 60 years. In the same way you wish they don't carry it millions of years too. But they have enough problems like that. With their wife, with their children, with their body, with the government, with the neighbor, with it. And more problem, more of the past problem. Now, first we solve the problem we pretend we have. We see there's no problem. Then maybe something else may come. But first we have to see that in this life there's no problem. There's no problem in problematic way. There are some problems, but they're functional. As long as we're alive, they have been solved. Not something you do personally. So I have no opinion, honestly, about that. But I respect very much the Indian point of view, and in the chapter 37 of Tantra Loka, Vinaya mentioned it. And he said the yogis who have done yoga with all effort all their life, and we didn't succeed in realizing the true nature. After the death, they will spend many timeless time in ecstatic place, and then they will be reincarnated, and then in a very moral family with a mother and father, very traditional, and then they will succeed in that life. I have a huge respect for Abhinavagupta, but it's not my level of understanding that I could comment, so I don't comment. But it's part of the Tantra Loka. But here we don't refer to the pain, but in an occasional way. Because to refer to a tradition, you must first know the language of the tradition, which is Sanskrit, which I don't. So if we don't know the language, we should never stand as an exponent of a tradition.
Once I suppose, you've entered that natural state, is there a natural role of compassion in that phase? Because I suppose you mentioned, like, if you got hit by a car, you feel the pain. But then when you think about someone else in the car.
Compassion is different in Kashmir Sharim than, for example, in Buddhism. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Prajna and Karuna, the wisdom of two, create Bodhisattva, finger of elimination. It is very beautiful in Tibetan tradition, but it's not the same in the Shaiva tradition. Compassion is a natural prolongation of seeing no difference. You are what I am what you are. There's no relation, there is oneness. Is this become actualized? The outpouring emotion of this evidence could, in a certain way, be called compassion. But it is a cold compassion. It is not a compassion to solve something. It is a compassion in seeing that what happened is needed. Like when you see a lion eating antelope, then you see the beauty. You understand that the antelope is having a hard time. You understand that the lion don't catch the antelope. The lion child are going to have a hard time. It's called life. Life is death. Life is killing. When you walk here, you kill so many million of little animals. They're small, but they weigh them better than small animals. So for us, compassion is to see the fact that life means killing, life means violence. We cannot be vegetarian. When we breathe, we kill animals. I'm not vegetarian. When I eat an apple, I kill so many millions of animals. But because I don't eat a cow, that I'm vegetarian. I eat small animals. Too small for me to see them. But it's the animal, their life. My life destroys them. It's not violent, it's called life. There's no other way. So compassion is to see that when I see the lion eating the zebra, the antelope, I see the incredible power of life without ever thinking that I can understand anything. Because it's not in the realm of understanding. It is something beyond our limited mind. So I surrender to the fact that I don't understand what it is. I don't know what I see. I can see that if I take a point of view, I will see good and bad. If I take the point of view of the lion, it's good. If I take the point of view of the antelope, it is bad. But if I shut up of any point of view, what do I know? Is it good or is it bad? So compassion for me is to see the need of the killing, the need of death, the need of violence. Because it is called life. So I don't have a compassion for the antelope because it is eaten. I don't have a compassion for the lion because poor thing is a bad karma because it's eating animals, like the Tibetan Buddhists who in Tibet they don't want to kill animals because they are non-violent, because they ask a Muslim to kill the animal and then they eat them. So the bad karma goes on the Muslim, not on the Tibetan. I like Tibetan, but I don't see the world like that. So in a way, if you don't occupy moral point of view, beside your natural ability, we live in society, so we have to a certain point to accept the morality of our surrounding. It is not a high morality, it is functional morality. If there is a war, we fight against an enemy. That doesn't mean we believe in the government lecture, but it is a war you have to fight. That doesn't mean you have to dislike the people you kill. But there's no other choice. Like when you walk in the forest, you kill any animal, you don't dislike them. I don't dislike all the animals I've killed in my life, when I eat, when I move, when I breathe. But I destroy them. The compassion for me is to see the fact that life is death, but not in a psychological way. I have compassion when I see a snake eating a mouse. I have compassion when I see him. Yes, I have compassion, but I don't pity one who is eaten. Because if he's not eaten, he's going to eat himself something else. So people say, oh, I don't want to eat a fish because I want to kill fish, but the fish you kill is not going to kill other fish. Smaller fish are very happy you kill big fish. I don't eat fish because I don't eat fish. Another compassion. So we don't have the Buddhist compassion. We don't have the Bodhisattva compassion that we want to stay on the earth to teach. It's very sweet, it's beautiful, but it's not part of our tradition. But for me to see fact is a kind of compassion, because you see somebody suffering, like you see a child. It's not easy for a child to live, but you see it is needed. When you see the birth of a child, it's not very happy. It may be a terrible moment to be born. You know, you come from a very warm place, more or less secure, and they take you out, you're in the air, the cold and the noise, and people want to touch you, to grab you, and it will be hell. So the child is crying. It looks bad, but it's called life. When you see somebody dying, sometimes it's not that pretty, but there is all in the middle. If you look at one place, you can have compassion for the dying and compassion for the poor child being born. But for me, higher compassion is to see that, well, we have to be born to live, we have to die, we are born. And in the middle, yes, there's a compassion. For me, the compassion is like to see when somebody suffers for nothing. My wife sleeps with a neighbor and I suffer so much. You don't like me, I suffer so much. You don't respect me, I suffer so much. My parents don't understand me, I suffer so much. My neighbor don't respect me, I suffer so much. These are higher compassion because these are needed. But for the fact of life, compassion has a kind of power of love in a way. There is not the romantic compassion. It's like you see a cat and a bird, and the cat grabs the bird. Sometimes you just watch, and sometimes you kick the cat so the bird can go away. I don't know what is best. The bird is going to kill many animals. You said, well, she didn't, the cat will still be alive. I don't know what is best. To let the birds eat all the little animals around, or to let the bird being killed by the cat. I have no direct God information to tell me this is right, this is wrong. So sometimes I look at the cat eating the bird, sometimes I kick the cat. I don't know what is best. I have compassion in both cases. If I kick somebody, I have compassion. If I save somebody, I have compassion. It is the same. So that's different with the Buddhist compassion. It's very sweet.
What about in situations where we see, like you talked about tsunamis, but today we see all this so-called global warming and all these sort of man-made type catastrophic situations. I find it very hard to maintain equanimity through that.
You know, you have to be practical. You can stop the production in China. You can stop the production in Russia, in America, in India. So maybe you don't drink Coca-Cola, maybe you don't eat meat, maybe you don't wear jeans, maybe you don't take plane for holidays, maybe you can do in a functional thing according to your own level, some elements. But I don't have time myself to worry for the world. Nothing I can do about the rainforest in Brazil. I don't have time for that. Everywhere you could engage yourself. Why not?
I guess my question is more around, if I extrapolate what you said earlier, there's no good or bad really. It's just I'm deciding that it's bad. That
Yes, exactly.
forests in Brazil are
Yes, and
destroyed.
I don't know. For me, what comes from life is a kind of rhythm, and the human creature may, in a not maybe too far future actually, may be able to destroy the earth to a certain point. If you follow Indian tradition, you'll heard the information that actually it is some yogis and rishis in the spiritual realm who suggest to the man when the humanity is really not that good anymore, the way they can destroy themselves. It seemed to work well. That's why the first atomic reactor in India was shaped as a lingam and a yoni when it was made in the 50s, because atomic energy, the symbol of tamas, is the ultimate dissolution. So I respect this point of view. I respect the Kali Yuga point of view. I respect what the Purana said. But I have no opinion. For me, the golden age will come Iron Age, and the Iron Age will come in Golden Age. So if human beings don't learn, they pay the price in a way. I'm not there to solve. I'm not calculating to come and solve the problem. So again, we must live in a functional way. We do what we can in a very basic way. Some people who have higher abilities, which I understand. Somebody wants to do politics, but if you want to do good, you have to become a dictator. You have to forbid what is bad. Then you have to invite other countries so they follow what is good. Many people try, it doesn't really work much. But if you don't want to be a dictator, there's no way you can stop this thing. So if you don't have this capacity and this inner feeling of being a dictator, I stop telling my neighbor what he must do. I do what I have to do. Something I don't do, my neighbor does it, I respect it. It's a line in the guitar saying it's better to die following your own line than to live according to somebody else. So I'm nobody to say to my neighbor what is good for him. I don't know. What is good for the planet, I don't do. It is really an impact on what we do, as much as people say. Honestly, I'm not even that sure, because we don't have information, we have propaganda. I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't have the intelligence to study the right propaganda. My life is too short. So I don't worry about it. I understand some people have the ability, I don't. So I'm out of that. And I respect people who fight for this and for that, but I don't have the ability. Of course.
Just following up on this decision conversation, I'm currently in the process of looking for a job. And if I heard you correctly, it actually doesn't really matter ultimately what one does or doesn't do in the time we have here, apart from.
Well, it's not that it doesn't matter, it is that it's not in your hand. It is not in your hand to be a musician, to be a doctor, to be a violinist, to be a policeman, to be a gangster, to be a prostitute, to be a dancer, to be a baker. It's not in your hand. You have some abilities, you listen to them, and with that, according to the market, the surrounding market, you may use some ability or not, but it's not, you don't decide your ability, you don't decide your intelligence, you don't decide your intelligence, you decide nothing. So it is in that way that decision is somebody who decide to do weightlifting, it's not because he decides that he can do weightlifting, but it's because he has the ability that he decided to do weightlifting. Some people who run 10,000 meters, they don't decide, oh, I'm going to run 10,000 meters. No, because there's the body of a runner, then they decide to run. So fact comes first, expression of the fact. So you look for your abilities, and to a certain point, you find a way to express them. So it's not actually decisions there. It's just living with the fact. But people generally don't live with the fact, they live with the fantasy. They think they have the ability, they don't. No, look, your real ability, not the one you wish you have, but you don't have. Not the one you may have had, but you don't have. Not the one you have. They're unique, they're special. To work with the fact. And from that, you will find opportunity. It may not be what you like, but it may be what is functional. What you like, to ask myself what I like is irrelevant.
I think my conversation goes something like, these are the abilities where I know I'm going to get paid for, but I'd rather do something meaningful or whatever, work with puppies or something like that. And then this conflict comes up, but it was quite comforting to hear. It doesn't matter if I choose to work with puppies or not. It's just
honestly,
somebody's going to pay you to do Excel sheets, go do them.
Life will decide. It's not important to be rich or poor. It's not important to be recognized or not. It's not important that we are. Really important is something else. So don't spend too much time on what you do. You must make a living, you must live. But it's not important. Who you sleep with, what you eat, where you go, what job you have is like this. It is white, it could be red, it could be green. I don't care. life will, bring things for you. So everything is beautiful, everything is needed. So no personal dynamism. Arjuna don't want to fight, but he's a Kshatriya. He must not do what he wants to do, but what he has to do. To find what you have to do, not in a moral way, but in a functional way. And you follow them.
About communication, that on some level there never seems to be an exchange of information. And I feel like the tantric language or the feeling language is going much deeper than regular language.
Well, in communication, the first thing you must realize that it doesn't exist because there is no separation. And people will never see you. People project something on you and they relate to this projection. They fall in love with this projection and then later on they hate this projection. They don't talk about you. They talk about their projection of you. So you say one word, they fall in love with you. They one word, they hate you. They talk about their own projection. So don't ever try to communicate with somebody because it doesn't function.
Yes, I think it's what I'm saying, that there doesn't seem to be like an exchange of information in a way, but
There's no exchange because there's no separation. But you must challenge your idea of being yourself before you can challenge others being what they are.
Yeah.
When you realize there's nothing there to be for you, and you realize there's nowhere else anything personal. But you're right, in feeling level, like when you take your hand, and you feel with your hand, I can say, well, I feel my feet is cold, my feet is dry. Then my feet can tell me, well, this hand is warm, this hand is smooth. But this is talking to myself. If I deepen the exploration, the moment I don't know what I feel. I don't know if I feel my hand, I don't know if I feel my feet is one thing. Then there is no more hand, there's no more feet. Then there is oneness. So when somebody touches your leg, it's the same thing. As long as you have a leg and somebody touch it, it's a relation. Relation is using the other one. People use your body to have stimulation, they call that making love, but they only use you, or they have an idea of you that stimulates them, they're in love with that, and later on they're going to hate you because you said that, and they're only talking to themselves, they're only using their body with themselves. So most people don't have physical contact, they don't, like they project something, so they touch you to feel themselves. So the first thing when you have contact is to see, are you touching, what are you touching? You touching, first, of course, you say, oh, I touch the legs of my neighbor. So I feel the leg is smooth and the leg is warm. And then you deepen the exploration. You say, but am I really feeling his leg or am I feeling my hand? Well, maybe actually I feel my hand. And then you deepen the exploration. And then if I stop pretending my hand and if I stop pretending his legs, I'm just one with the feeling without mentally commenting, me or it's him. Then there comes a moment, as you said, that there's no more relation, there's oneness. So in a certain way, the Tantra, I mean, what people have made of Tantra here is a joke, but some part of the real Tantric tradition was this challenging subject and object relationship to experience oneness. And why the Tantric tradition, mostly of Kashmir, but not only, have accent to let the perception expand and to let the person dissolve, because when the object perceived is dissolved, are there going to be a subject without an object? The subject perceive and dissolve at the same time. When there is no more object, no subject, is oneness. So all the tantric, I mean, not all, but part of the tantric dynamism is to celebrate the object, not in a hedonist way, but just in order to let it die. Like a rose, if you let the roses open, and then the roses die. So when you let the perception unfold, the perception will come back to ashes, and then when the object disappears, the subject, so-called subject, disappears at the same time because they're one. So yes, feeling can bring this oneness, but hearing the same thing. When you let the sound come to you, and the sound reduce in you, there's a moment there's no more sound, no more you. There's oneness. It's true of all perception. But the thinking of the relation is fantasy. There's no relation. There's only projection. And people said, oh, I've been married 20 years, I don't know my husband, I don't know. Of course you don't know. You married a ghost. Of course, people are living with the ghost. That's why they love so much and they hate so much the same person. And the same thing, the same object create emotion, hate. I was telling that in one of my last seminar, but I think we were there. As a close friend, long time ago, and she fell in love with a man, and she said, oh, I said, why you? Not why, but tell me why this man. And she said, oh, but he has this and this quality, but there's something extraordinary with him. When he sleeps, he makes a little noise. And it's so charming. I cannot. She fell in love with this man. She married this man, she had a child. 10 years later, she divorced the man. So we talked. And I said, well, what was the problem? She said, oh, well, it's like that, but something I cannot stand. When he sleeps, he has this little noise. And this woman is a very bright woman, actually. But we function like that. We must see. So it is only projection. It never live with the fact. Fact create a projection, and then the same thing, it's horrible. Somebody gives you flower, when you're in love, it's so charming. When you divorce, they give you flower, it's an aggression. Why? How can you give me flower? It's the same flower. Only the mind creates it different. This we must really see.
Is it right to say that, like, the essence of your message, or at least that was coming over to me, is that just connect with what is actually there, present in me at any moment, at any moment, rather than entertaining these thoughts. I mean, I don't know what they are, the thoughts, they just go around and around in my head, bouncing around.
Of course. But first, there's no message, because nothing to give message. But what we aim here in a certain way is to see that 99% of our problem is thinking. They're not real problems. So many times in your life you have been facing a very difficult moment. You said, I don't know, I'm going to cope. But look now, you did cope well. And there was never a big problem actually. But so many times I said, but this time I will not make it. You did make it. So it was a fantasy. It was the deepest drama we experience. When you look at them now, you realize, well, there's not much of a drama. And the deepest joy you have, now you look now, this wife, this car, this child, and you realize it was not much maybe, but it was so important then, so dramatic then, just to see that most of our affect come from imagination. It is very difficult to face a situation without imagination, because we have been stimulated by education and culture and society and family to see always from our own point of view. Like if you're French, you see the world, you buy a map in Paris, so the world in France is more or less in the middle. But if you go to Africa, you to Russia, you buy a map, well, you're in the middle too. And you understand, if you buy a map in China, you understand why China is worried about something in Pacific. And if you buy a Russian card, well, you understand why Russian may feel that way. So we see the world always like that. We have a preconception, and it is reasonable because we have no other choice. But we only see things in from our point of view. That's why geopolitics is very difficult because we understand the other from us. Now, if you want to understand politics, we must buy many cars and see how Russian face the NATO, over Chinese face Russia. Oh, and then I'm not saying you become bright, but you understand a little more. Where some people don't feel threatened, feel threatened. And when you study the Kashmir area, where you listen to the Chinese way, you understand the Indian way and the Pakistani way, but from their own point of view. And it is less evident than if you have only one point of view. So there are many ways to see. So the point here, what we try to see here, that when we think something, it is hardly information, it is preconception. So I can, up to a certain point, reduce this preconception. When I see them, they're going to always be there. If you're French and English, you're always going to have a problem with middle age, or you're always going to have a problem with this and that's okay. But we can see that, I can see that if I was born there, like when I was young, and I studied the Battle of Napoleon, and I studied Waterloo, and I heard it was a terrible defeat for France. But then I lived 10 years in London, and my daughter was educated in London. And so when we do study, I learned that Waterloo was a big victory. And so, what am I to say if it's victory, if it's defeat? It's the point of view. So the greatness of one is the ugliness of the other one. It's very important to see that. So we always have a kind of point of view, but it could be flexible. I will never have your point of view, but I can understand that if I was born where you were born, if I experienced what you have experienced, I would think like you. So in a wartime, I may be on one side, not on the other side. But the people on the other side, which I may have to kill, I still have the love, the affection. But if I was born there, I'd do the same. It's not personal. Killing is not personal.
Is it just a matter of, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I can see it's sensible and logical, but when it comes to an interaction with someone, you might have a very intense interaction with a person, and you do see everything from your own point of view. And
Yes.
it might appear afterwards that
Of course. Of course.
Is there a way in which you
No, because there's always been like that. There's always been some sound of voice which you're going to like or dislike. There can always be some sexual way which you're going to like or dislike. You may like to make love very soft or very hard. Maybe you like Belgian food, maybe you like Thai food, maybe you like food from South India, maybe you like French music, maybe you like German music, maybe you like Carnatic music. This is always be there. And if you're born in England and if you die in Russia, before you die, if you hear some English song, you'll be very happy. Because when you get old and decay, what you were raised with may come back. And if you're Greek, and if you go and live in Africa, and if before you die, somebody give you some colorakia, there'll be a lot of emotion for you. Because when you were young, you eat colorakia. So this is how we function. So we should not pretend we can be neutral. We can be neutral. You have always a point of view on life, and I have always a point of view on life. But we can see that our point of view is mechanical. It's because of our experience. My father told me that, I experienced that, so I believe that. But some people believe the opposite from their own experience. And I don't pretend I can see the world as others do. But I just see that my way is very limited. So I'm not proud of my way. I just don't have any other one. So in a way, you become functional with your limitation. And in the end, you realize that all limitations are not limited if you leave them from inside. That means if you accept them. My limitation don't limit me. I don't fly like a bird, I don't swim as a fish, is not a limitation. It's functional. I'm not made for that. So the intelligence I don't have, I don't need. Why I don't need? Because I don't have it. The knowledge I don't have, I don't need. Why? Because I don't have it. In any level, what I don't have, I don't need. And what I need, I have. So that's for me living in a functional way, never asking. You can ask for some salt, you can ask for the time, but nothing else. You can never ask psychologically. You never ask to be loved, you never ask to be respected, you never ask to be listened, you never ask to be respected. Because this is what we are. When somebody don't respect you, you respect the person, you feel respect. When somebody don't love you, you love the person, you feel love. When somebody don't understand you, you understand the person. You don't understand you, you feel understanding. But we're constantly asking people to do what we don't.
If there's a temptation to react to somebody,
You have no choice.
but
You have no choice.
I don't know, because the thing is, I've been listening to some of your webinars, and I found it very useful, very helpful, having had a very difficult interaction with somebody. And there's all these thoughts coming up in my head, but I heard you in another webinar. You actually gave an example of, I think it was a wife that was looking at other men and how to deal with that. And what you were saying was, when the thoughts were coming up, you were saying, shut up, feel it.
Yes, but I was not shut up, but yes, it came back to the feeling. Yes, come back to the feeling. Right. Yes, it was very important. Yes, it was, for me, it was a kind of turning point to see that what my teacher has said was true. I knew that intellectually. At that moment, it came true in a certain way. I could see that the jealousy was not from the fact, it was from thinking. When I will remain with the fact, there was a tension, the tension will squeeze itself, and then what was squeezing become expansion. But when I will visualize my girlfriend making love with another friend, the image will bring me back to the contraction. But then I learned my lesson and I was doing nothing but to feel the contraction. And then the next morning, I didn't need to visualize to make love with anybody, but if I will do that, it was okay, because it was an image. We don't suffer from fact, we suffer from image. It's very hard for us to accept that. Like you buy a new red Porsche, you dream of your life, you sit in the Porsche, there's a red light, you stop, and you feel so happy to have a red Porsche. At that very moment, there's no red Porsche, you're only with happiness. You come back home, you park your red Porsche, tell to your wife, your mistress, your dog, whatever, I'm so happy of this Porsche. And maybe somebody steal it already, you don't know. You're still very happy. Happiness don't come from the Porsche, it comes from the fantasy. What makes us so happy, what makes us so unhappy is the fantasy. It's very difficult to accept that because we build society on the opposite. Happiness don't belong to situation. One fridge, two fridge, 10 fridge don't make you happy. One wife, two wives, three wives don't make you happy. One divorce, two divorce don't make you happy. Nothing makes us happy. We project happiness there, and then we project unhappiness. We do the same thing later on. But actually, you must get married for the sake of it. You divorce for the sake of it. It's nice. It's a beautiful moment. But you ask nothing of it. You ask nothing of your car, nothing of your wife, nothing of your mistresses, nothing of your marriage, nothing of your child, nothing of the government, nothing of the opposition, nothing of your neighbor, and particularly nothing of yourself. Then you're happy. But nothing of yourself, particularly. Ask nothing of myself. Because I don't have the ability to follow what I think. Today I said, oh yes, I will not do that tomorrow. Yes, I'm going to do it tomorrow. How many times I've done that? 1,000,000 times. Oh, this is finished. I don't do that anymore. And I do it the next day. So to ask something to yourself is the ultimate stupidity. And as we are, we're all the same. If I realize that to ask something of myself is stupid, to ask it from you is as stupid, because you're like me. You're going to say that, you're going to do the opposite. So at some point, you ask no more, nobody. Not to yourself, not your parents, not your neighbor. Everybody is what it is. People who don't understand you, they can't. People who don't respect you, they can't. People who don't listen to you, they can't. People who don't love you, they can't. Nothing to ask. Then there's room for freedom. But as long as we're asking, you should be like that, you should listen to me, you should respect me, you should love me, you should I should be like that, I should change, I should not be like that, I should not be violent, I should not be I should. It's endless. We must still offended. Life is now. I have no time to change. You go out, you're going to crash with a car. You don't have time to change. You must find happiness now.
Seems like times in relationships and in roles, people are trying to fit you into some fantasy. How do you respond to that? Do you just play along, or do you just sort of go radical, like you were saying, and say, you're radical?
No. You must respect people. Some people believe in God, you respect them. Some people don't believe in God, you respect them. If you're a fascist, you respect them. They're communist, you respect them. You must respect people because they have no choice. They don't know what they think. They don't think. They are taught by the family, by their education, by what they read, by the TV. And so they think that. They don't think. They are taught. Why should I care? You must respect totally the other is always right on his point of view, because he has no other. When you walk in the jungle, the lion sees you, he sees breakfast. He's not wrong. He has no other way to see. All the hands you crush when you walk in the forest, they see you as a monster. They're right. You're not going to say, I'm not a monster. Yes, you are a monster for them. You're not going to say to the lion, I'm not a breakfast. You are a breakfast for him. So somebody thinks you're intelligent, somebody thinks you're stupid, somebody said you're handsome, somebody thinks you're ugly, somebody said you're right, somebody said you're wrong. They're all right from their point of view. Why should you bother? You must accept them.
But you're not having a dynamic interaction with the lion. It's not like every day you're going to interact with the lion, but in a relationship or with people, they put you in a role, and that limits your freedom.
No. What limits your freedom is to believe you have a role. Your parents always see you as a child. Forget changing their point of view. They always give you advice at you're 5 years old. It doesn't change. Your wife has always a point of view on the mistresses. It's not your point of view, but she has a point of view. She will not change. Your child will always see your father. If you tell them, oh, I'm not your father, you are their father. So your boss seeing your employee is right. Your employee seeing you're the boss, they're right. You're not going to say to your boss, I'm not your employee. You're not going to say to your employee, I'm not your boss. Yes. Accept their point of view. But that doesn't mean you must believe it. It doesn't mean you have to take yourself for the boss. They take you for the boss, fine. They take you for the child, fine. They take you for being a father, fine. Your wife thinks you're a husband, fine. Your lover thinks you're a lover, fine. They're all right, but that doesn't define you. I'm not defined by the point of view of other people more intelligent than me, think I'm stupid, they're right. People more stupid than me think I'm intelligent, they're right. Smaller people think I'm tall. Taller people think I'm small. I'm not defined by your point of view. Your point of view on me is totally right for you. I don't live your point of view. I even have myself point of view about me. But your point of view, I respect your point of view. It never, it doesn't challenge me. You don't want to eat me, I understand, I act accordingly. Some dogs come to me and they want to bite me, I act accordingly. Some dogs come to me and lick me, I act accordingly. I don't create bad dog and nice dog. Another dog going to bite me, he's going to lick his master. Another dog going to lick, he's going to bite somebody else. So when I touch a dog, of course, I touch it differently. Is the dog lick me or if you want to bite me? But I have the same emotion. If the dog is afraid, he bites. If he's in security, he lick. So I act accordingly. So your surrounding is, they always see you according to their own point of view. It doesn't define you. So you must accept that your wife want a husband like that. You must accept your child want a husband like that. You must accept your mistresses want you to be different. There's nothing you can do about it. If you love two women, well, one thinks that, the other thinks that. Yes, one is going to be happy, one is going to be unhappy. You have to accept it. They're both right from their point of view.
It's almost like it might be the truth in how you experience it, but a lot of the times I find, let's say if I'm in front of the ocean, I feel a lot more spacious. If I am at home working without anyone, say working remotely, I feel like the role is not as impactful on my energy. But if I'm in the office and 10 people are orienting, I feel like there is a different way of being. It's almost like if you're told over and over, it somehow has some impact on the energy body.
You're absolutely right. That's why it's better to be in front of the ocean than to yes, to be in the wartime. But we don't decide. So at some point,
where does that power come from to make that choice? Step out of your freedom.
oh
Your-
no, you have no choice. You have no choice.
Where is freedom?
There's no freedom in the politician concept. It makes nothing. There's no freedom. You decide your body, you decide your intelligence, you decide your vitality, you decide your sexuality, you decide your taste, you decide what you decide. It's a joke.
So there's no point in being here.
Of course. But if you're here, how do I know you should be here? You're here. How do I know other people should not be here? They're not here. Everybody's at the right place. There's no other way. So you must totally surrender to the fantasy of the surrounding. But that doesn't mean you appropriate it. There's always been people who dislike you, people who like you. In the commentary on the Brahma Sutra of Shankaracharya, there's a sutra where Shankara said, it is very easy to get realized, but it is impossible to be loved by everybody. So you must accept, and that is true, because we don't resonate the same. Some people, you see them, you don't like them. You don't know why. People, you see them, you touch, you like them. Some people, the sound of their voice, you cannot take it. Some people, the smell, you cannot take it. Some people, the car they have, you cannot take it. Some people, the way they vote, you cannot take it. So we all have fantasies. They're actually not fantasies, they're biology. Some dogs who always want to bite me. The lévrier, as we call it, lévrier.
Greyhound.
Greyhound. The dog when they see me, they always. And there are the dog, the pit bull, the police dogs, they like me. But I can understand. I know it's something chemical. There's always some people who gonna dislike you or like you. It doesn't have nothing to do with your own quality or ability. So you accept that. And of course, it's easier to live with somebody who resonates well with you, not really hate you. But sometimes you have no choice. So you have to be able to live with people who hate you, because sooner or later you're going to face them. And that's okay. And they're not bad people. They feel uncomfortable with you. So they don't like it. And some people who like you, they're not better. They just feel at ease with you. So at some point you can be seduced by people who say, "Oh, I love you," because they don't. They just feel ease. And you're not challenged by people who say, "I really can't stand you," because you just feel that you create some problems, you create some agitation. They really don't like you. It's not personal. We must accept that it's easy. So relations are easy when you don't ask anything. Asking is the ultimate failure in any relationship. You ask nothing of your wife, nothing of your lover, nothing of your child, nothing of your body, nothing of yourself, and you feel happy. then listening come alive, and then in listening with a kind of perspective, and you see what is important and what is not, and it brings you back to what is important is being, is not doing. So who you sleep with, the way you eat, the way you vote, so your sexuality, the way you is irrelevant. We must follow what is natural for us, but it's not important. And because we don't see what is important, we always say, oh, it's important to eat this, it's better to eat like that, it's better to do yoga, it's better to do tai chi, it's better to do meditation, it's better to follow guru, it's better to... No, nothing is better. What is better is to come back to the fact of being, which is what we experience every evening before the deep sleep. You give up your mistresses, you give up your wife, you give up your child, you give up your body, you give up your money, give up all your preconceived idea. Why? To do nothing, to be nothing in deep sleep. And you, every night you come this ecstasy, even if you're an incredible lover, after 3 days you want to sleep. You want to be nothing, the ultimate experience of life. And then in the morning, when the body wake up and the life wake up, you don't feel that you're just a newborn baby. No, the body is new, the house is new, but you're not new. So this moment of being nowhere comes the root of life when we stop accenting what we do, when we accent what we are. But as long as we accent what we do, try to do this or that, what is the best for me, we forget what we are, and then life is problematic. That's the core of the teaching, actually.
So is there a way that we can know being and know true nature outside of our body mind? We can't really, can we? Because we have to interact with the mind.
Well, what we are on the objective level is body mind. Question comes from the body mind.
Yes.
So the body mind is a ultimate expression of consciousness of space and time. So the question is posed by the body mind, is given by the body mind, but the answer not. The answer doesn't come from the body mind, the answer comes from stillness. That's why the body mind, in a certain way, must come back to a certain stillness. That's why yoga exists. What is yoga? Yoga is just to shut up the body and the mind, so we can listen more deeply. So in the West, yoga has been sought to exuberate the body, and people talk about body feeling, and there is no body feeling. Feeling is from consciousness only. There is no body awakening. Awakening is from consciousness only. So body express all of that, but you must see it in a functional way. So I would say theoretically, at least from the Indian point of view, the stillness of the body-mind is a space where the understanding may come. But actually, it's not always the case, because we know some people, we were in moments of agitation, and in this agitation, understanding had come. So even agitation do not separate us from understanding. If you read the description of my friend Byron Katie, and it was a moment of openness, it was not in a still body mind. So it showed actually nothing is important. So if you have a kind of inclination to listen to the body mind, the listening of the body mind creates peaceful body mind. But some people don't have that. They don't want to go through the body feeling, and actually they may not need it. So there's no difference. So yoga comes from, for some people, as an evidence, but if it's not important, it's not missing. So the level of the body-mind relaxation and openness may be important for some people, but maybe of no importance for some others.
And the knowing aspect, it's consciousness knowing itself, isn't it? It's not mediated by the body or the mind. It's just
well, the consciousness cannot be known So very important to see the perspective that you are the maybe
Right.
you are the prey, you're not the hunter. We always think we are the hunter. So we want to see people who said, like in India, said, I want to see God. It's a poetical expression, but God is what see. So what we want to see is the ego.
Yes.
When we see the ego, the seer is consciousness. But the ego cannot see consciousness. Like when somebody said, I want to be aware of awareness, it makes no sense. Awareness is oneness. Nobody aware of awareness is in the same field. So we see our pretension. When I see my pretension, it is a moment of humility. You can never become humble. So most people have this fantasy in spirituality, they must become humble. This is arrogance. But when I see my arrogance, it is humility. But in humility, there is nobody humble. You can never appropriate yourself. That's why the I amness is free of any link, any objectivation. That's why the Muslims destroyed all the statues in India because of lack of understanding. Because they thought statues were representing divine, they don't. They represent aspects of the divine. They never represent divine. Even the lingam represents the last form before the beyond form. It doesn't represent the form. So when I see that, that's why it's called a negative way. I mean, you can never be anything. And that's, sometimes it is a wrong translation of Indian text would have created this fantasy, like people want to be realized and people to, and because when you study Christianity or Islamic, what is nice in Christianity is that nobody can become the Christ. When you study Islam, nobody can become prophet. But when you read Indian text, when you read Shankara and so on, if you don't understand them well, it seems all the Mahavakyas, Ram, Ramasmi, Shivoram, it seems that it's a kind of appropriation. That I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm pure consciousness, I'm Shiva, I'm Shiva. It means that when you stop pretending being what you're not, what remains is awareness, it doesn't mean that you are Shiva. So sometimes Hinduism has been wrongly understood as Buddhism. And then invented the Buddha. In the same way, in the Buddhism, they want to become the Buddha. But the first 250 years after the birth, the death of Buddha, there was no Buddha. The representation of the Buddha was an empty seat, was a white horse, a canopy, two sandals. After 250 years, there was somebody sitting on the Buddha. For 250 years, they respected that Buddha is nobody. Then Buddhists want to become the Buddha, because they have a deeper meaning. But sometimes it can be very restricted. And in Hinduism, it is the same thing, this appropriation. When you read the text, I am Shiva, I am consciousness. I create the fantasy in the West and in India too, of course. But Indians have followed the Western fantasy. That I am realized in the same thing, which doesn't fit actually in Indian tradition. So it is a lack of appropriation with the roots of the tradition. So again, you are the prey, you are not the hunter. So the ego is seen. When I see the ego, what is seen is not something I can be, because I am that. I cannot be in an objective relationship. When I see my arrogance, it is what we call humility. But in many schools, they try to be humble. Then it becomes a fantasy like in the Christian church, and so on. So the perspective is very important. You said you have to finish because of the child. No? Oh, so the last question.
What you were saying about decision making and tossing a coin, Does it mean no one's ever made a decision?
You're not a separate entity from the cosmos who could do or not do. It's like if you said, can the temples decide not to be? No, temples don't decide. They just move by life. And what we are is much more dependent than the big tempest. So what we think, what we feel, what we see, what we experience, it's part of the globality. It's only because we have this fantasy, I am the doer, that I feel that I am the owner of my, like some people said, I think. But again, we don't think. We don't think. People said I feel, but they don't feel that there is feeling. Thinking is a process. You witness the thinking, you know the thinking. You have the thought house, you have the thought carrot, you have the thought thinker. But you're not a thinker. The thinker is a thought. The carrot is a thought. But to think I'm the thinker, it's a thought. Like I am the microphone, I'm the carpet, I'm the thinker. It's the same thing. It's the fact that there's thinking, but there's nobody thinking. It's like if you said, I beat, you don't beat, no, the heart is beating. You don't say, I beat. No, the heart is beating. The thinking is moving, but you don't think, you don't beat. When you walk, it's walking. You said, I walk. This appropriation is like somebody said, the sun rises in the morning, it's way of speaking, the poetical way of speaking. Sun don't rise in the morning. We use it in a conventional way to convey something. But when I said I think that, it's a poetical way. Actually, I don't. Decision, we need independence. We're not. For as long as you're part of the cosmos, well, you're not free of the gravitation, you're not free of anything. So to think that something bound by everything could be independent, for me, is a lack of scientific. So the idea of freedom actually was an invention of Christian religion after the Council of the 30s, because they invented good and bad, and so you will do bad, and so you go to the church, and they will sell you merit, you pay money, and then you'll be excused. Then they will give you things to do. But it was a way to make money from the church. That was good and bad. Before they invented the marriage at the same time, before people were not getting married the same way, and it was good and bad. But it's an invention. So the modern politicians have taken this invention, as I said, vote for me as a way something terrible will happen. Terrible thing will happen anyway. But it's a fantasy. Freedom is from lack of clarity. Of course, you act according to the evidence, but it's not something you decide. Like if you have this strong feeling that duty is more important than right, but you vote on the right wing. If you have a strong feeling that rights are more important than duty, you vote on the left. It's not something you decide. You're born like that. Good decision. So we follow what comes to us, but it's not better than what the others do, but just we do what we can. We have to live again in a very functional way. I think it is important when we meet together like that to see that what we say here is not something that like it is a truth, like it is a spiritual thing, it is nothing. But it's just line of exploration. So it's not something you must believe, you must trust. Don't trust it, don't believe it, just listen to it, forget about it. And then if it has resonance for you, it will come back in your own way. But please don't come out of a talk saying it is right, it is wrong. It is nothing. It's just some way to explore life, which sometimes is a bit different than other way, and see how it functions for you. See, maybe next time you have a decision to make, just see how you function. There's a hope, there is you. See how you function. Next time somebody dislikes you, see how it is felt. Next time somebody said, I love you, see how it is felt in you. Next time somebody said you're wrong, and so on and so on. Just to abide in listening how we feel. No comment. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. I should nothing. I should just abide more and more when it is there to the feeling. So that's what are the roots of what we say here. But it's not something to that to follow a tradition. There's no teacher here, there's no teaching, but just is inquiring about how we function with no comment. Up to the point I come to this total evidence, this direct knowledge that there's nothing to know. There's nothing I need to know about life. Life is incomprehensible. To comprehend something means reducing to my own ridiculous level. So I renounce all understanding. When I renounce understanding, what comes to me is listening. In this listening, there will be a functional way to act according to my limitation, to my abilities. It will not be right, it will not be wrong, it will be what it is. Some people will discard it, some people will like it. That's called life. So it's very important not to we listen to what we did today, not to make a conclusion, say, oh, it is right, it is wrong. It doesn't work that way. You listen to it, you forget it. If it concerns you, it will come back in its own way at the right moment. That's the way it's become second-hand information. It is really a waste of time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.